Hi, welcome to Spoilers. I still have no idea how to call this thing. Uh, okay, so the whole thing with Thanos' motivation is that he basically foresaw that one day the universe's resources, the natural resources, will deplete and the entire universe, the whole species of the universe, will face extinction. So his um, his whole thing is about balance, is about diminishing the number of races, the number of people, the numbers within every race, to ensure that that problem is at least postponed. And yeah, you can see that in his first, from his perspective, chronological interaction with Corona, which, by the way, called it. um, the there are a lot of people dying in this movie, as I already said in the previous video. First is basically the entire crew of Asgard. Everyone from Asgard that was saved by Thor is dead. Everyone on that ship that left Asgard during the Ragnarok has been destroyed. And there was, at the beginning, there was this great scene with Loki and Thanos on board of that ship. And Loki had to choose between saving Thor and keeping the what was the name of that cube? Whatever, the one that took Red Skull. You know which one? The Tesseract. So either Thor or Tesseract. Thor. Yeah, believe it or not, but Loki have actually chose to save his brother over his personal power. Nice. Which later followed by Loki's death. First of many. In the meantime, between those two events, Hulk gets on the action. He fights Thanos, and Thanos thrash him, which apparently leaves him in some kind of it leaves him traumatized, because every time throughout the movie Banner tries to bring Hulk out, you can see when he's just about to leave, when he's just about to be unleashed, Hulk screams no and reverts back to Banner. Hulk is afraid. Yep. So that happens. Next. Well, there are so many deaths that I honestly don't know where to go from here. Nebula. the blue lady, um, the cyborg, was captured by Thanos while trying to assassinate him, and she said she would in Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's when she gets interrogated. She's interrogated. She's literally in pieces. Uh, and okay, before that, Thanos abducts Gamora. He brings her on his ship, and then uses Nebula, whatever. Again, Blue Lady. She uses her to make Gamora tell him where the Soul Stone is located. And it is that scene that I warned you about. This is the scene that Thanos torments the android. The android. What am I saying? This is not Dragon Ball Z. The cyborg. Yeah, I'm sorry for that. Thanos torments Nebula. I'm calling her Nebula from now on. And that is brutal. That scene is brutal. I honestly don't know who is this movie destined for. It was definitely not made for kids. Teenagers probably, but this is like borderline R-rated movie. Almost half of the cast gets killed. Black Panther, Scarlet Witch, Vision, Bucky, Spider-Man. I am dead serious. Spider-Man kicks the bucket, and here's the thing. This is when he dies right in front of Tony, and this is probably the most devastating death I've seen in this movie. All the others, you can feel kinda for them, but before he dies, Peter just he loses his balance, falls into the arms of Iron Man. They're like this, they're hugging each other unintentionally, but still, and Peter just breaks. He says he cries like a kid, "I don't want to go. I don't want to die." I had tears in my eyes, man. He basically cries out for Tony to save him, and then he just vaporizes like the rest of them, turns to ash, and Tony looks for a solid 2 or 3 minutes at the hand that was holding Peter, and you could see the pain, the anguish on his face. Doctor Strange kicks the bucket. Basically, every member of the Star-Lord's crew dies, except for Rocket, I think. Yeah, Rocket lives. A lot of people of Wakanda Yeah, I am not even going to try to pronounce that. The fuck it, I don't care. They get vaporized too. Who else? Who else? Um, Basically half of the entire universe. What? Actually, no. Scratch that. No. Peter's death was emotional. Spider-Man's death was emotional. But the one that actually was the turning point for all this was when Thanos had to sacrifice someone he loved. You see, this in his search for the Soul Stone with Gamora, he meets someone. That certain someone is, by the way, Red Skull. Yup, he's back. And he and he tells Thanos that he himself was rejected by the stones and was cursed to forever guard them. I think it's kind of difficult. There were just few words of explanation uh, from Red Skull as to what his job on that snowy planet is. It's kind of like Hot from Star Wars, and he tells Thanos that the Soul Stone will not reveal itself to anyone unless they make a sacrifice. They make sacrifice by giving up that which they love the most. At first, Gamora is thrilled. She's triumphant because she thinks, because hey, all this effort, all this pain, torment, misery, all the things that Thanos has done, and it all amounts to nothing, since in her mind, he loves no one. She was wrong. Turns out that every time Thanos called her daughter, told her in the first Guardians of a Galaxy, he does mention that Gamora was his favorite daughter. That was not an exaggeration. We see memories between those two. We see what happened to Gamora, how she was adopted, quote unquote adopted, actually abducted by Thanos during his crusade. And over the time, he actually grew to love her. And in order to get the Infinity Stone, he needs to toss her off the cliff. He grabs her by the arm in a similar fashion that in a flashbacks we see him lead her, taking her hand into his own and leading her off the carnage of her world into his own, and tosses her out. And throughout this scene, we basically focus on two things: on Gamora and on Thanos' face. And Thanos was greatly animated in this. I'm gonna give it. Actually, if I'm not sure if he's on par or even better than Gollum from Lord of the Rings, but he's definitely at least on par. He may not be better, but he's definitely on par, and in that scene, it shows. It definitely shows. And yeah. Basically, as I said, the tone of this movie is despair. It's about people fighting against inevitable, against death. And in some, and as I said, it's not clear who is right in this. I mean, from our point of view, of course, the Thanos had to be stopped. Thanos has to be stopped. But seeing him on that planet, you get the idea that he does it because he has to, because he has no other choice. And it's almost heartbreaking. In fact, the last picture, the last shown clip of the movie before it cuts to credits, it's very similar to how the comic book ended, the Infinity War ended. Thanos in some kind of home, just going out and looking at the view, at the lush forest before him, and and we see the devastation that the act of killing half of the universe does to him. But then, at the very last second, there is a little bit of smile that he did it. He accomplished what he did. He fulfilled his purpose. But to be fair, I don't know if he was really happy. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Uh, in the continuation of the story in Infinity War 2. I know where this is going. As I said, I've read the comic book. I know where this is going, but they've changed so much from the original story that, first of all, in the comic book, Thanos pretty much already have all the Infinity Gems. He already have the gauntlet completed. And the whole event, the whole thing starts from half of the universe disappearing. And the battle wages on from there on out. So here we basically see, they changed it so that we see how he collects all those gems. So that's I don't know if I should call it prequel to Avengers into the Infinity War proper, or a slight remake of the story. I honestly don't know. It's nearly 20 minutes since I start rambling on. Uh, I honestly don't know what else to say except that I'm excited to see Red Skull not dead, and I really hope they're gonna do something about him in the future movies. He might actually play a part in the Infinity War too. He said that he was cursed with knowing stuff. That he was cursed with knowing. Uh, and this is where I don't really know if the translation gets it right, because in Polish version we hear that he was cursed with simply knowing, but does he mean it by knowing people who come to this planet trying to claim the Soul Stone, or does it mean about simply knowing shit, like all the shit? So, and given how resourceful Red Skull is, at least in the comic book, for God's sake, he ate the brains of Charles Xavier. Yeah, that was a thing. Um, and gained psychic powers for some reason. No, seriously, that was a thing a few years back. Uh, so I don't know. They might do something with him. All the characters that die, I know they're gonna be back. Talking outside of a movies in our reality, Spider-Man have at least 3 more movies, so it's good. Um, I'm nearly 22, almost 20, nearly starting 23 minutes of this shit. I need to, I really need to stop this. Okay, so this is my opinion on, this is my review of Avengers Infinity War. Take it for what it's worth. I know I've been babbling on and basically didn't tell you much, but I hope it somehow um it I hope that it told you enough. I hope that you can point out if you would like it or not. Maybe you won't, maybe you will. Let me know in the comments below. Um so yeah. Uh Great movie, emotional as hell. And yeah, I'm almost at the 23 mark. Yeah. So without any further ado, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and bye. Hold on. Okay.